Hi, my name is Mike, and I'm the founder of Motimake. We offer custom fit sewing patterns online, and I'm here today with Lucia Squilari. She owns a handmade and bridal business on Etsy, and she's done over 8,000 sales in the last few years. Lucia, thank you so much for being here.
No problem, my pleasure.
So one of the first questions I wanted to ask you was, did you have any kind of formal training or background? What set you up to take the leap to own your own business and to do what you're doing today?
No, I have no training at all. Just years and years of hard work and experience doing the work. I started by accident because I found Etsy. I was really young and I was trying to make a living doing things with my hands, which is what I've always loved doing. And so I found Etsy and I decided to open a shop and had no idea what it would become and what it would involve over the years to come, and learned gradually as it went along.
And how old were you when you started your Etsy shop?
I just turned that 20.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I was actually making handwoven scarves. I had no sewing knowledge. And gradually, after a few months of doing that, I started getting bored with it because it's pretty monotonous. And so I started exploring with a sewing machine, incorporating my handwoven pieces into simple designs. And I really enjoyed that, and people really liked it. And so I just moved over to sewing quite organically, and the rest is history.
Wow, that's amazing. And I guess tell me a little bit about your design process. How did you figure out, what am I going to make next? Do you have conversations with your customers? Do you go out on the street and look at what's popular? How do you figure out what you're going to offer?
It all comes to me from various sources, and then from that I boil it down. My main inspiration is taking input from what I see works. So I create a design which I like, I see how it works. If it works, I grow that design, expand it into different variations on the theme, see which work best, and then move from there into new areas. Other ways is just seeing maybe from photos online or on the street or things I like to wear and taking that as inspiration and trying to see how it works. I usually always respond to how the customers like the product, and then that stimulates me to make more.
Gotcha. And 8,000 sales is no small thing. That's a lot of stuff. Are you doing everything yourself, or do you have helpers who you call in during busy periods? How does that work?
Yeah, I have a few helpers around me, but nobody is full time. I have a local girl comes and helps me sew during busier times, a couple times a week. But that's very off and on. It depends on the workload and mostly how much other work I have that takes me away from focusing on only the sewing, because there's a lot of non-sewing work involved in an online shop, which is customer service and emails, loads of emails, and just listing products. I recently launched my own website, and that has taken up so much time and energy just figuring out how a website works. And then I have somebody helping me with the shipping, and I have the programmers and web developers helping with SEO and the website structure.
Gotcha.
So that's about it. Everything else I do myself.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff. Your website, did you build that on a platform, or is that custom made?
It's WooCommerce based.
Okay.
With a theme that I had them customized for my.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And what are some of the biggest challenges that you've faced in coming up to this point and in moving forward?
Definitely organization. So I think you can handle this volume of work if you optimize what you're doing and make sure every step of the way you're doing things the most efficient way possible. And that's really hard because it always means you have to constantly reinvent what you're doing to do it better and more efficiently. And then also collaborating with external people is really difficult because I've had quite a bit of trouble finding reliable people to which to delegate my work.
Right.
And that has been sometimes a big setback. And then, yeah, I guess just making sure you always have people pay you the right amount so that you're not overworking and you're having a proper income. And that's it.
Yeah, so let me touch on a couple of those points.
Yeah.
Number one, for organization, do you have any tools or any specific methods that you use to keep you on track and keep yourself organized?
My head, unfortunately. Yes, I'm trying to start working with Excel spreadsheets, but I have no training in that. I was a musician before I became an online designer. So everything is I have to learn while I'm doing the things, and so I don't have much time to dedicate. So that's part of the difficulty of doing this. Is I can't take a week and study Excel because during that week I have to produce and ship and answer emails and keep on track.
Right, absolutely.
I guess that's the only one that's really keeping things organized at the moment. And
Okay.
then Google calendars and stuff like that.
Right, yeah. Google has some great tools for productivity and whatnot. And then one of the other things that you just mentioned that I wanted to touch on was making sure that you're making a proper income. So do you put sort of thought and analysis into, I produced this garment, it took me 12 hours to make, I'm going to sell it at this price point, I have to pay my helper this much, or I have to pay the person who helps me with shipping this much. Is that all part of the process and figuring out your price point? How do you do that?
It is, but not in a mathematical way. I don't sit down and write down all the little bits and pieces that go into it. I mostly try to be as efficient as possible in the production and keep my designs built in such a way that I don't have too many steps, and the steps are really fluid and easy to keep track of. And I also make sure because everything I make is custom made, so each one is individual for each customer. I don't produce in series and then sell out.
Right.
And so that becomes very tedious, even just the action of going to get the piece of fabric and bring it to the table and cut it. So just keeping everything as fluid and as organized as possible, have the fabric all stored in the right manner so that you know exactly where it is, and have the patterns all in the right manner, and know your designs really well. And so when you have that certain amount of bust, you know how to cut it. And just keep things in my head in such a way that they come out the proper way. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then I also focus on having designs that like I shipped it to bridal because that's an area where I can have a good profit margin while keeping prices fairly low for the market I am within.
Gotcha.
So I am within, my price point is quite low, but even though that's the case, I have a good margin. And so this is I consciously decided to shift to that area because of that.
And so would you say that bridal wear in general has better margins than, say, streetwear?
In my case, yes, definitely.
Okay.
Because, I don't have any middlemen, and I sell directly to my customer. And so the more I am able to reduce the number of individual orders, the more efficient I become.
Gotcha. And for someone else maybe who was young, 20, 22 years old or so, and thinking about following in your footsteps and making the leap to running their own business, what kind of advice would you have for them?
You definitely have to like every single aspect of the job, because it's not just about designing, and it's not just about fashion and liking fashion and designing. You need to like and have a knack for photography, for CEO, for just obsessing over this and making that what you think about every single day. Because
Right.
if you let time go by, you just get lost in the mix, and there's thousands and thousands of other people doing it.
Right. And another question popped into my head. So I know you're making a big push, and I've seen your website. It looks beautiful, by the way. Why start a website? Why not just stick with Etsy or maybe one of the other platforms that's out there?
Because on Etsy and other platforms, you are a number with, I mean, you don't come out as an individual designer, but you are part of the marketplace. And after I postponed doing this for very long because of how much energy and work it had to go into it to do it properly.
Right.
And so I'm now 10 years almost into the business, and I just launched my website.
Right.
And I've been aiming to do it for at least 5 years now. But I wanted it just to have a stronger brand identity. Then I don't really care if I sell more on Etsy or on the website or on any other platform, as long as my brand identity is cohesive and strong. So that's the main reason I did it.
And let me ask you this. Do you think that branding on a website versus, say, branding on social media like Instagram or Facebook or some of these other platforms, having your own website, does that give you something greater that, say, you can't get on social media?
I think you need the website to give credibility to all the other aspects. And so if you have social media, and you must now, you cannot go without it. If you have the website, even if a person goes on it just once over the whole time they're following you, it gives a sense of following something that is more solid than just having an Etsy page or just selling through Facebook or whatever in person. And so I think for online presence, a good website is a must. But if you do it, you have to do it the proper way and have it working. And that's not easy.
Right. And that's very well put. I think you hit all the points that, right on the head. So my last question for you is, where do you plan to be within, a year, 5 years from now? What are your long-term goals for your business?
I like how it's structured right now, in that it's small, but it's moving. And so I hope to grow gradually in this direction at a very slow pace, as I have done over the past years, and find a way to have everything even more streamlined and organized and conscious than I have right now. So many things right now I still have going by instinct or by chance, and all these aspects gradually I want to bring them together so that everything is under control, and it brings less stress and wastes less energy. Yeah, because my main focus is to be able to work well a lot, but have a lot of free time during the day, and not work 8-10 hours a day, but maybe 6 or 5 days a week. That would be my ideal, to which I'm striving.
And have you laid out any concrete goals to getting there? I mean, it sounds like maybe you need to bring on another helper to assist with some of the production, or what are the concrete steps that you need to take to get there?
Well, getting the website online and running properly is definitely one, and figuring out how I can delegate part of that work while keeping a good eye on what's going on. That's my first step right now.
I see.
It's pretty good. I'm figuring it out. Production, I need help. I'm pretty good with production right now, because this way of asking for help when I need it is very financially efficient, because I'm not paying full time just for the spot production. And I guess that's it. Yeah, it's pretty good. I just moved into a new studio, so I'm coming to a good place right now, and I'm looking forward to settling into it properly. And
well, congratulations. That's great news. That's exciting. Thank you so much for talking to me today. I'll have links to your Etsy store and your website below this video. And best of luck to you in the future.
Thank you to you too.
Thanks.
Bye.